So let's call the meeting to order at 6:02. And I believe it's been a while since I tried to do this remotely. The first item of business is, oh, now it went away. It should be members of the public, I believe.
Changes to the agenda first.
Oh yeah, changes, additions, deletions to the agenda. Thank you.
And Rich, I have two for you as well.
Go ahead, Bob.
One of them is Heidi is here to talk about P cards. We'll make a little explanation of that today. The next meeting, you guys can make a decision on that since we had warned that. And secondly, sign some contracts. And for teachers, and thirdly, to lead an executive session for the approval of a contract for a principal position.
Okay, is there anything else?
I have correspondence from the 6th grade class to read to the board.
Okay, I think that's down at the bottom under consent agenda. Bob, why don't we put the, why don't we do the P card right after members of the public and members of the staff? If that's all Heidi's here for.
I believe it is.
And then after,
Yeah,
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, Lori wasn't sure, she's not coming on tonight and didn't know if you wanted me to be present for when if there's anything about the audit, that's all. The audit report.
Did that get sent to us? I'm sorry.
She thought it did, but I can also find it on our website and send it again.
Hey, did you see the audit report, or Dwight, or Mike?
Rich, Dwight here. We did receive it, but it came this afternoon, so we didn't have a whole lot of time to review it.
Okay, so why don't we put that off till next meeting?
Okay.
Okay, so we'll do the P card. We'll do the P card as soon as we're done with members of the public, members of the staff. So, members of the public, I see a few. Dana, I think Dana in Deerfield Valley News is our public tonight? Or am I missing somebody? Dana, you have anything for us, or Deerfield Valley News? You can just shake your head, Deerfield Valley News. Cool. Is that all? That's all we have for members of the public. So members of the staff, I see Bridget.
I have nothing to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. I think we got everybody, right? If we did, then Heidi, do you want to, members of the public, members of staff? Heidi, why don't we let you go first before Greg? And you can do, if you want, you can do the P card, and then we'll put Greg on for his stuff.
Okay, that sounds good. So the P card, I'm bringing to the board something that I'd like you to consider. It's something we are rolling out in West River, and I thought River Valley might be another district that's interested. So the point of the P card, it's very similar to a credit card situation, but it would be designed to be individual teachers would get a card that we would allow a certain amount on that they could spend for supplies that in my experience working within the school system, a lot of teachers complain that they can't take advantage of sales during the summer at Staples, at Walmart, different vendors, that in our business accounts, we don't get those really good sale prices. And I know teachers are always looking to save as much money to make their classroom budgets go as far as possible. So this would be a situation where the central office would be allowing them a certain amount on a card that we would control, that they could then take with a tax exempt certificate and do some purchasing on their own at vendors, giving the receipts back to us. We would be preparing blanket purchase orders so that they would be a little more in control of how they spent their classroom budgets. Now, this would be an account through the Bank of Montreal. It would be a line of credit that the board would have to sign a resolution to allow the chair to enter into this agreement, or allow the central office to enter into this agreement for a line of credit. The advantage, once a year, they'll give us a rebate, depending on how much money was spent and how quickly all the balances are paid on a monthly basis. So there's a little bit of an advantage with some money coming back to the school district. There was an informational sheet that was put in your packets for today, so it summarizes maybe a little bit more information, but you know, it's just the flexibility. I know in West River, because I deal with a lot of the purchasing, there are staff members that end up spending their own money rather than trying to go through the whole purchasing process, even when I've offered to sit down and help them through it. So I just feel like there's an advantage of letting staff have access to their classroom budget that's based, you know, the principal and the financial office determine that, so it's not an unlimited amount of money. And once it's spent, the card, we would decrease the value on the card to $1, so they wouldn't be able to spend more than what was agreed upon. We're also putting some procedures in place and policies that they would have to sign off on, so that if they, for some reason, somehow overspent, it would be their responsibility to pay us back. So that's kind of it in a short nutshell. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Anybody questions for Heidi?
I can ask a question. Rich, Dwight here.
Go ahead.
So it says there, there'd be some kind of way to, they have to get approval ahead of time before making a purchase, is that correct?
The approval is the blanket purchase order for a certain amount of money. So they don't have to say, get approval that they're gonna go spend $100 at Walmart. So they don't have to get that kind of approval. They will know ahead of time the amount of money that they can spend on whatever they want for their classroom. So that, there's no micro approval. It's more on that bigger level.
So that you're not getting approval for actual specific items, you're getting approval on an amount.
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's the only question I had.
Bridget, let's just, let me go through the board first and get all the board, and then I will not forget you, I promise. Mike, are you good?
I'm good right now.
Kate? Kate's good. I guess, Bridget, I'm gonna let you go before me, because you may ask the same question I'm gonna ask.
It's not a question, it's a comment. I, in a previous district, had used the P cards, and they, from the teacher's perspective, it was amazing. And as Heidi had pointed out, that teachers spend an awful lot of their own personal money because it's so much easier to just pay for it and be done with the whole thing. So from my perspective, totally worth it to consider. Thank you.
So Heidi, my only question was, the town of Dover one time looked to get credit cards, and the auditors didn't like the idea of a credit card. I understand a P card, because I think it was the same idea, credit card you can put a limit on.
Yeah.
So, and then also, I'm not sure how it works, because we haven't been that close on the budgets lately, but each teacher goes to their administrator and asks for a certain amount of money for classroom supplies. And is that the same for everybody? Is there a blanket number does everybody get, or is it different for everybody, and are you guys going to have to load each individual card? And how far does it extend? Is it just classroom teachers? Is it specialists? Is it aides? Is it one-on-ones? And how many of these cards are going to be out there? Because I guess towards the end of that, are the auditors good with this? And that was my.
Yeah, so we spoke with the auditors back in the fall because this is something that I've been talking about during the last year of just the frustration on the teachers level about spending. The auditors are okay with it. There's a number of districts in the state of Vermont that have done that, and Lori and I have spoken to a number of business managers just to get an idea before we started to dive into this about what their pros and cons were. That's where we've gotten a lot of feedback on procedures and policies. So the auditors are okay with it, especially with the specific policies and procedures that we would set in place. So that's okay. I'm trying to think what the other questions were. It was right there.
Well,
The types of
does
staff.
each teacher have the same amount?
Oh, that's right. So I can speak to West River because I've done a lot of purchasing for West River. The way that we've based it in West River was an amount per student. So for instance, $50 a student is what we've given classroom teachers in the past. I think we're upping it to $60 just because supplies are costing more for this coming year. So we would be managing it on a teacher by teacher basis. But again, I'd be working with the principals to make sure that that's in line with what they are thinking in River Valley's schools, since I haven't worked with them previously. We are going to have to manage a spreadsheet, but I spoke specifically with Lori O'Hearn a couple weeks ago in Dover to see if this was something she was even interested in, and she was ecstatic about the opportunity to have teachers do some of their own purchasing during the summer when they could get these sales. She is more than willing to oversee the staff that get these P cards, and I was looking for her input as to who would get them. And we definitely agreed that classroom teachers, we were discussing potentially a couple of the specials teachers, but that was sort of up for debate, and I was looking for Lori O'Hearn to sort of dictate what was helpful in Dover specifically for who would get them. I think in Dover, we were looking at less than 10 cards potentially, and like that's where we started. I haven't spoken to Wardsboro at this point. We were really focusing on Dover.
Okay, no, that's good. I really appreciate that. I just didn't know if there's going to be like 50 cards floating around or.
No, it's really about the classroom teachers, but potentially maybe a few other, an art teacher or, might take advantage of some great sales locally. So there would potentially be a few other members, but it's mainly just the teachers we're looking at.
Okay. So is everybody on the board good? Are there any questions so that maybe we don't have to have Heidi come back next meeting and we can just move forward on this?
I mean, I don't know if you can take action since it wasn't warned. I will have a resolution that would need to be signed by you, Rich, if it was, a motion was made in a meeting.
Yeah, we're not going to make a motion. I'm just asking, I'm trying to save you a trip back.
Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
just asking, is there anything anybody else thinks they may need? And I'll get to you in a sec, Dana. And then we will have it warned on the next agenda and we will vote on it and you have the resolution. The vote will be to approve that and direct the chair to sign.
Hey, Rich, Dwight here. Just have
Yeah.
one more question. I'm definitely in favor of this. I think that it's a good idea to give the teachers creativity and the ability to make kind of their classrooms their own. My only question is it going to be a specific like kind of area that this is geared toward? Like, is it just supplies, or would a teacher use it to have a pizza party, or like exactly? Is there kind of guidelines that would be given to the teachers for this?
Yes, this is really about their classroom supplies and some of what they'll have to sign off on before they get their P card would be the understanding of what it was to be spent on. A pizza party wouldn't come out of classroom supplies, therefore there's other avenues for them to go to get approval to spend it on. This is just about their classroom. So that would be spelled out in the procedures that they would sign off on.
Great, thank you.
Because I think Dwight was going kind of where I was headed, like who gets them, because a lot of times reviewing the pay warrants, I'll see that, that somebody from the kitchen went to whatever store and got a bunch of bread or got some canned product or something they needed in the kitchen. And I just didn't know, that's why I wasn't sure if it would make sense to have multiple, like into that position. And the other thing that's important is, the sales free tax, the tax, sales tax issue.
Yes.
Here in New Hampshire, it doesn't matter, but in Vermont, or Dover, it's 7%. So if you were to buy $100, I mean, it's not a lot, but over, 10 teachers, it's another $100. So that's why I wasn't sure if it was going to be like if the janitorial staff happened to be at Walmart and, at Runnings the other day, windshield washer fluid was $2.35 a gallon, and at Home Depot it was $3.35, and the parts supply stores with our discount it was up over $3.50. So if you're going to buy 10 cases, you save some money, but if you have to pay the tax on it, then it doesn't work as much. So
Right. So they will get a tax exempt certificate piece of paper that they can take with them for vendors, so that they can show proof, and tax with that certificate, tax should be taken off. Vendors should be taking that tax off. So that should alleviate that problem. And I would really look to Lori O'Hearn to tell me whether she thought there should be a card for janitorial staff, or whether the food program potentially could benefit from having one. I would look to Lori, since she's very hands-on with what's being spent regularly, and absolutely, if she felt like that each of those departments should have one, it's easy enough to have one and then even keep it in the office and give it to who might be going to the store if that was the case.
No, that sounds good. That's where I was kind of headed. So thank you. Dana, or anybody else from the board? Is everybody on the board good? Yep. Okay, so Dana, go ahead. Last word.
No, I just wanted to ask a question about these cards. Are they are we getting like points from them, or what is why can't we just give everybody like an American Express gift card for I think you said $60 and give them their tax exemption thing? Like, if we're not monitoring what they're buying and we trust that they're getting pencils and markers and stuff, why not just a gift card? Does that make things easier, or the card's going to be like you're going to give them and that's their card until they are no longer employed?
So yes, the card would be given to them until they were no longer employed. One, we get rebates. I'm not sure the percentage, because they base it on how much we spend over the course of a year. It's an annual rebate, so there's that benefit. But also, one of the things that was discussed with the vendor who helps us get these cards, when you purchase a Visa gift card, I don't know if you've ever had that, but when you go to spend it, if you don't spend the exact amount the first time, you might be using it, and say it's preloaded with $100, you spend $30 here, you spend $59.99 here, all of a sudden you're down to an amount that you don't actually ever spend the full amount because it's $3.82 left or whatever. And unless you know that exact amount, they can't ring it in, and it's a hassle. So in that respect, the prepaid gift card isn't great, but because we get rebates, that will just help our bottom line, and it is a card that it will be in their possession throughout the years unless they leave or unless they don't use it appropriately and we take it back because it's been used inappropriately.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody's all set, Heidi, just make sure we get that stuff. If you can send whatever we need to Kate, and then that way when we set up the agenda, we can make sure it goes out.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Did Greg leave us? No, Greg, you're next, buddy. You got two things.
I do? Okay. What do you got?
Update.
Oh, PCB update. So all the final testing has been done, and we are still awaiting to hear back from the state as far as whether or not we need to do additional testing or whether or not we can do, we can just move forward with starting to replace flooring. One thing, I don't know if Laura's here, but one thing I did want to let you know that I've been kind of pushing back a little bit with the state on is that the that we've done damage to our schools in doing this deeper sampling. The initial air sampling was just kind of whatever, but the sampling that was done at Dover, for instance, where we took up some VCT tiles, yes, we put a tile back down, but now it's an odd color. And so I explained to them, I said, now I wouldn't say that we're made whole, like we have floors now that would be an asbestos removal. And if it turns out that that's not the cause of the PCBs, we have to now take on an asbestos job to make that right. And they didn't really have a lot to say about that. So I just wanted to let you all know that I've been pushing back because, like I said, that the sampling has created bits of maintenance and could even create bigger projects as far as like if we were to make right the hallways where we took up the navy blue tile and put down a light blue tile, and now it kind of looks a little funky, that's still an asbestos removal, and that's going for about $20 a square foot right now. So it would be an expensive repair. So I have pushed back on them a little bit, letting them know that their sampling has caused, damage to schools that to be truly made right still carry some heavy consequences.
So I think Tracy mentioned at the last meeting that, we asked, was everything put back? And she said not really. So that is something that maybe we should follow up with.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if we need to write a letter from the board or something, then you can help us with that.
Yeah, will do. Yeah, no, I've been having pictures taken. We had the same issue over at Arbro with the second round of sampling that was done over there recently, where they actually, theirs was like, I guess technically their third round, where they were taking up the tiles, cleaning up the asbestos glue, and then drilling into the concrete to see how deep it went. And some of that was, just where they had to tape it off to create zoning. They peeled tape off the wall. There was kids' artwork. They just went right over it and ripped the kids' artworks off the wall. And it was just like, hey, like, it shouldn't be that way. We can do better than that for our schools. So we are working on that. And then
Hang on, Greg. Yep. So on the PCB, is there anything from the board?
No, not yet at this point.
No,
We're
I'm
still
asking
waiting.
the board, do they have any questions?
Oh,
I'm
okay, sorry.
Kate shaking her head no. Dwight, you, Mike, good?
Oh, good.
Okay, so are you gonna hit the roof next, Greg?
Yes, yep. And I know that Lori and Bob both kind of chimed in on this a little bit. So we're looking to move forward with the Duralast product that we had spoken about. We can do the Duralast project through the TIPS contract, which is basically it's a purchasing co-op. The benefit we have from that is we can save time, which right now, if we decide to say, no, we want to just put it out to an engineer and have an engineer do it, we're looking at, a few weeks at minimum before we're even going to get the ability to put out a bid. We have the opportunity to work it with, we get to pick and choose a little bit more, though I did reach out to the rep from Duralast and say we're hoping to move forward with them, but we need 3 bids. So we're still waiting to hear back from him. He will be at Dover tomorrow to get up on the roof to look at the areas that they were not able to look at the last time they were there, just due to I think there was snow on the roof at the time. So he's going to have something together and we'll get us bids. I believe he's hoping to have them by the end of next week. We'll have 3 bids. But I just wanted to make sure you all understood how the TIP system worked, and so they have a job order contract. So what it is it's an indefinite delivery of an indefinite quantity. So basically what they do is they put it out as it's X number of square feet for this roofing product to be put down, right? So no matter how many you put down, you can't charge, this is the amount down. So for the most part, everyone should come in pretty similar on that. The difference we stand to see, I believe, in cost with other bids will be in labor and in the cost of insulation and some of the other things like that. But the product itself will be that by doing it through the TIPS program too, they do the engineering, and by doing it through Duralast in the TIPS contract, Duralast basically works as a clerk of the works for us. Like they'll have a rep there making sure that the installer is putting it in to their specifications. And the warranty, there's a 20-year warranty on everything, including ponding water, which most even EPDMs won't cover ponding water. But seams, the edge metal, any penetrations, there are no exclusions for the ponding water, as I said. and you have a full 20-year systems warranty on that. So to me, that really seems like the product to move forward with, and so that's kind of where we were heading with it. And I just wanted to let you all know that was the plan, and that, like I said, and that through Duralast we'll get 2 more quotes through them.
So Greg, that works well because the end of next week will be just before our next meeting on the first Monday in June. So why don't we make sure we plan on having you there to tell us what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So I'm excited, and so.
Is there any questions or comments from the board, Dwight, Mike, or Kate?
Oh, it sounds great. Thanks for all the hard work, Greg.
Yeah, it is nice not having the clerk of the work too, and I was really impressed with that Duralast stuff. We used it on a few projects, and I was very impressed with the sample. How you can rip the rubber membrane, but you can't rip that even with a slice in it. So hopefully it'll outlive at least most of us.
20 years at least.
That is the goal for sure. Yeah, I mean, it surprised me that they were willing to warranty even the seams for 20 years. That seemed surprising. I know with EPDM, you definitely don't get that. And they said if you put it out to bid, generally you're going to get, by doing it through Duralast versus doing it through, say, a roofing company is generally going to give you, a couple of years on work craftsmanship, whatever. And it's like, whereas this, because their name is on it, they're invested in making sure that the craftsmanship is there and they're willing to stand behind it. I thought that was really impressive.
Okay, well, thank you for that. So, I think that was all we had for Greg. Is everybody good with Greg? Can we let him go do something exciting? Okay, thank you, Greg. We'll see you.
Thank you.
We'll see you at the next meeting.
That sounds amazing. Have a great night.
Cool. So, designate truant officer. I was supposed to check with Mike, and him and I missed each other. And I got to get hold of him this week, so I'll have an update on that for our next meeting. Bob, if you need a truant officer, you can just go ahead and deputize yourself.
I was going to say, I hope no one gets in trouble.
There you
Sounds
go.
good. Looked like Mike was interested in doing that, maybe. I'll grab Mike. We'll do a road trip, Mike, you and me.
There you go.
I'm down. I don't know what we're talking about, but I'm down.
When kids don't show up to school, you got to go to their house and pick them up and drag them to school.
Right.
I'd excel at that.
That's right.
Not as easy as you may think. So old business. Is there any other old business we missed from anybody? Hearing none. Next thing I show is principals report, and we got 2 principals, so we have 2 reports. So let's go to the hometown person. Actually, we got to go to the away team first. So go ahead, Donna.
So, not too much to update you from the last report. This past week, we had a wonderful theater residency called Clowning Around with Peter Gould and Kaylee Larkin. It was amazing. Our Wardsboro School Club supported this great event for the kids to learn about pantomime, and they gave a share for the parents on Friday night, which was very well attended by many parents, and there was a lot of laughter, good times amongst the community, and I heard a wonderful time to be had. I don't know if Kate can say a little chime on it or have any things that struck you as something fun and nice to see.
It was definitely a nice event. The kids all worked hard, even like the little pre-K 3 kids all the way up to the 6th graders. Each class had worked on some different elements and then brought it all together for a fun performance. So it was a great way to see all the kids on Friday night and what they had worked on all week.
Thank you so much, Kate. And the nice thing about this, what some of the staff shared, and I saw, kids who typically don't participate in these types of things shined. Like they were a little reserved about it in the beginning, but then just really flourished in the fun and laughter of the whole thing. And it was great to have these people there every day at the school to make those really good relationships. So that was a great thing that happened this past week at Wardsboro.
Thank you. Is there anything for Donna from anybody? No? Then we're gonna go to the home team. You're now up, Tracy.
We've had a pretty busy couple of weeks, so I'm just going to put in another plug for Mrs. Baker's retirement party this Saturday from 1 to 3 at the last chair. We have some folks that are going to say some things about her. We've got some gifts for her. We've got a surprise for her, and we're hoping it is well attended. I had my last principal advisory committee's meeting today, and we have a pretty clear avenue for next year. All of the folks want to return, plus we want to get a couple of new parents. So there was that. We had a very well attended performance of Peter Pan, which the Dover School Club helped come to fruition. It was a wonderful, wonderful performance. Our pre-K playground is ordered and will arrive July 12th. So we're working on that this summer. Greg's helping me, Dave's helping me. And let's see, Grandparents' Day was well attended, very well attended. I think we had, we lost track at like over 100 grandmoms and grandpas and special people here at Dover School, so that was lovely. And I think that is it.
So are there any questions for Tracy?
I have a question. So the Grandparents' Day, that's something you've done in the past? Is this a new thing? Or?
It is, it's been a tradition at Dover School for quite some time. We had to forego it a couple of years because of that C word.
Right.
But we did have it last year, and this year we learned from some of the things that we did last year and made it 100 times better. We got lots of great feedback from grandparents and special people that came to stay, and it was just lovely to see grandmas and grandpas like sitting in the hallway reading with their kids, with their grandkids. It was just lovely.
That's
Really
fantastic.
lovely.
That sounds amazing. Thank you.
Anybody else for Tracy? Cool. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Tracy. Superintendent's update, Bob.
All right, well, you guys had the cabinet report for a little bit now, but just a couple of reminders. Wednesday night is the SU meeting, Leland Gray and on Zoom, 7 p.m. I think agendas have already gone out for that last week, perhaps. But one of the things that board will be getting is the appointment of the new director of finance. So I can't divulge any secrets, but you have to come to the meeting and find out if you want to find out. On the hiring vein, we have been busy with the Wardsboro principal hiring process, and I think there's a later executive session, hopefully tonight, to talk a little about that. And I've been busy with Townsend as well, and that end. But yeah, I think that's kind of one of the things I've been saying to boards, that the shift for me, one of the things I've noticed this spring is that as I've had conversations with other high school principals, namely Dana at Leland and Gray, and of course my wife, this is a time of year that gets pretty crazy for principals in general, but especially for high school principals as they get close to the end of the year and prom, graduations, all that kind of stuff. I've noticed in my new job the slight difference in busyness. I'm starting to, as the budgets have been passed and things are kind of quieting down, once this principal hiring, director of finance hiring is behind me, it will start to get some free time to plan for the summer, for leadership retreat, and for opening days and induction of new teachers and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to be able to shift from sort of the, busy to having some time to think and plan a little bit, which is a new thing for me. As last summer I didn't have that, so that will be good. And Yeah, that's my update for you.
Any comments, questions, thoughts for Bob? How many openings do you have now for across the SU versus what you had last year, Bob?
That's a great question. We think there's still a couple. I'm going to just throw out a number around 5 or 6 total, but half of that is in Jamaica. In a position here and there, some part-time stuff. So I think once the principal stuff is behind us, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. Seems a little bit better than last year. Now, contracts have been due, so people have turned them in, and it's just a matter of, if there's a post-contract signing bails that happen, but fingers be crossed that folks have signed and they stay on with us. So that's where we're at. But yeah, it actually feels a little bit better, although, as I said numerous times, the pools are still small. But it feels like we are close to being fully staffed, as close as you would be at this time of year.
I saw something, a couple things where some people are finding more applicants and are having an easier time filling positions. So, let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, and I would say that I think the depth of the candidate pool has been pretty good in the principal one specifically, and so it feels like I don't want to say we're turning a corner with employment, but maybe we are. Maybe so that's a good thing. But yeah, I think principals have been pretty satisfied with the pools they've been getting for teachers as well, and making some quick hires, which is good. In the past we've had the luxury of kind of taking our time with people, and now principals have adapted to it's going to be quick. We got to move and do reference checking and get right on it, because there's not a lot of time. There's a lot of competition for those people.
Thank you, Bob. Is there anything from anybody for our superintendent?
All good.
Okay, cool. Then how about approved financials?
I don't believe we had any this week, Rich. I think our last set came before the last meeting, so I don't think we have any outstanding ones this time. What do you think?
I don't remember. I know I approved some, but they may have been WCSU. So if we didn't get any, then we're good. We can move along to future planning. And I think Bob, speak to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this is something that you had spoken at the last meeting about, just sort of keeping it on the agenda as a conversation piece. And I think it's sort of a broader, long-term conversation that you guys have been thinking about from the buildings perspective and enrollment perspectives, and just to kind of start poking around the edges perhaps at where will River Rallies be, what's the goal for the next 5 to 10, 15, 20 years. So I think you had asked me just to put it on there, and so it's there as a folder. You guys can jump in, dig in a little bit if you'd like. But
so can we set up a retreat or a meeting after we get by graduation, maybe one of our summer meetings, to kind of just dedicate it to some future planning for RVUSD?
Yep, that's a great idea. I was actually going to ask on that note what you guys, because last summer was a little bit of a blur to me. Do you guys meet? Is it you go to once a month in the summer, or do you keep doing the every other week, or how do you do that? And so I know how to plan this one.
Oh no, we usually try to meet every week just to make sure you have something to do.
I was hoping, Reg, my dream.
No, usually we have our 1 or 2 meetings in June. Sometimes we take July off, depending. We try not to meet that second meeting of August, because the administration and the staff and you all have enough going on with trying to get school started. Okay, so why don't we put that for the next agenda? Everybody check your calendars and see how the first and third Mondays work in July and August, and we will make a decision for Bob so he knows where we're headed.
Okay, so you want to do the retreat in lieu of one of the regular standing ones, is what you're saying? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We've tried that before. It's worked pretty well.
Okay. We'll plan that out next meeting to get it on the books and dates.
Okay, then we had the audit report, but I hadn't seen it. Did anybody get a chance to look at it?
No, Rich, as I mentioned, it came today in the afternoon.
Okay, so if nobody got to look at it, Bob, can we just, since we have it, we'll just move that over to the next meeting?
You got it.
Was there anything glaring that we were in trouble with?
I don't think so.
So we're still solvent.
Yeah.
That's always a plus.
Mama, we did it.
Okay, so I think then, is there any other new business?
Well, the other new business was the new add to the agenda on authorizing you guys to sign teacher contracts.
Yeah, I think I thought we're going in executive session for those. I thought we had 2 contracts to do.
Well, there's a bunch of just teacher ones, the annual ones, that I don't know if you need an executive session for authorizing those. I don't know what you guys have done last spring. The executive session was for the principal one, but you could do others as well.
Yeah, let's just review them quickly in executive session in case there's any questions you need to talk to us about anything.
Okay.
That would be good. We did then, if there's no other new business, Mike, Dwight,
No, I'm good, Rich.
Good.
Kate?
All good.
Okay, so on to the consent agenda. Is there any comments, corrections on the 5/6/24 minutes? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, Meredith will approve your minutes. Good job as usual. Correspondence, I believe, Tracy, you had a letter you wanted to read?
Yes.
Read away. And can you also make sure you send a copy of it to Meredith for the minutes?
Sure.
Thank you.
Dear Dover School Board, we are ready to invite you to our exhibition. It is being held Thursday, May 30th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. at the Dover School. This is the culminating event of our time here at Dover School. As you know, the exhibition is the final project for our PYP International Baccalaureate School. It will showcase our learning and understanding of the IB principles and attributes. Each one of us has selected a different approach to understand the transdisciplinary theme of sharing the planet. We hope you will be able to join us for this event. Sincerely, the Dover 6th grade.
Great. What time did you say it was?
5:30,
5:30, May 30th.
May 30th. Yes.
And it's been a really good event. There's been some really neat presentations in the past. So, and there's usually a lot of family and friends that come along. So it's a fun thing to go to if you can make it. Thank you, Tracy.
Welcome.
Is there any other business? We have the parking lot. Parking lot is just items that we don't have an update today, but that we would want to discuss in the future so we don't lose track of it. Before we move to executive session, June 3rd, 2024 in Wardsboro, is everybody's good for that? Is there any issues with that date? Okay, if hearing none, I think we have 2 executive session items.
Yeah, so you have, contracts and an appointment.
Would somebody like to make a motion?
But I sent the language to you, I just sent it to Kate as well,
Okay.
for the
Kate, you
contract.
got it?
I move to find that premature general public knowledge would clearly place the board at a substantial disadvantage. That one, Bob?
That is correct. That's the first motion, yep.
Okay, is there a second to Kate's motion?
Second that?
Thank you, Mike. Mike seconds it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 It appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is.
And then I move to go into executive session under 1 VSA section 313A1 to discuss a contract.
And I guess it would be multiple contracts, actually.
Contracts.
Do I have a second to that one also?
Second that.
Was that you, Mike, again?
Sure was. Quick.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 It appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is. Okay, so at Meredith, at 7:16 by unanimous consent, we came out of executive session. All set, Kate?
Yeah, so I would like to make a motion to have the chair sign contracts as presented by the administration.
And do we have a second to that?
Second, Dwight.
Thank you, Dwight. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is. So yeah, Bob, we'll get together with those either tomorrow or Wednesday. Go ahead, Kate.
I would like to make a motion to approve the contract for Thea Dringus for the 5th, 6th classroom teacher for the Wardsboro school.
A second on that one?
Second that.
Mike seconded it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 It appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is, so we'll take care of that one at the same time, Bob.
And then I would like to make a motion to approve the contract as presented by the superintendent for Francesca Palumbo for the principal position at Wardsboro School.
Second on that one, folks?
Dwight seconds.
We have a second by Dwight. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is. So, Bob, I guess from our earlier conversation, you're gonna have 2 more hirings, right? 2 nurses?
Yes, yep.
And then we're all full up.
Sorry. Oh, we have a long-term leave of absence still for a teacher at Wardsboro for the fall semester.
For grades 1 and 2.
When do support contracts come out, like for
But
maintenance?
that's a leave, that's not a leaving.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Do that second.
Also, our Spanish teacher, we're gonna have to post that again. She was
Okay.
wonderful. She was amazing.
But we haven't lost any full-time staff,
No.
classroom teachers, so we're starting off, I think, a little better than we have been in a while, so. Thank you for everybody, Don and Tracy and Bob, for your hard work, and Kate and Mike. I think you did one of the interviews with the nurses' positions, and everybody helped out. So I think we are at that time of the meeting when we would make the motion everybody likes to hear.
I would
Please,
love
Bob.
to make a motion to adjourn at 7:19 p.m.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Mike seconds it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Uh,
Aye.
We're out of here. Thank you.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.